Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Learn With Me series. This is episode 5 of the Learn With Me series, and I'm glad to have you here. So, today with me, I have a guest, Isaac Oyekunle. Hello, Isaac.
If you're right, thanks for having me. I really appreciate
Yes,
it. Thank
yes.
you.
Thank you for accepting to be here also. Yeah, so Isaac, we went to the same university, we did the same course. Like, wow. And I would like to say you are one of the scholars that I know till today. Yes. Yes. So, yeah,
Thank
because you came out with a 4.91, like the very best in our class. So, yeah, so,
you.
yeah. Um, yes. Yes, so I've been following your works lately and I can see that you are interested in education. And from even back in school, I could tell that this guy has that entrepreneurship um, charisma in him, and even founding things. I could see it. I would say yes, Isaac the entrepreneur. Yes, and so this today would like go through like that I would like to learn like how that entrepreneurship journey started, right? Because even in the early days in school, I'd seen it that maybe I didn't notice it then, but eventually I noticed it that this guy is different from the rest of us, so we were just there. Yeah, so touch a little bit on like how that journey started. Like how did you get like maybe what piqued your interest in pursuing entrepreneurship, right? Yes.
Thank you very much for the opportunity
Yeah.
once again. And yes, I'm an entrepreneur and I love doing entrepreneurship activities. Yeah, so my entrepreneurial, I would say it's innate
Okay.
actually, but then was have breeded or brought it out of me, right? So what I would say started the whole thing was when I was still very young. Despite the fact that my parents were working, they were civil servants, but then my mom was a business person,
Okay.
right? And she at a very very younger age, she brought us into the business. We understood how to run, this normal provision business and the like. So it was from there I was very really interested because whenever I make sales, I was really happy.
Yeah.
So it was a thing. I understood how to relate with customers. I understood how you present your product. So I understood how we can actually relate to customers to make them even always come back to us. So the entrepreneurship drive started since then, and it has been with me. It has been growing, and I hope it grows better than this because we are learning and keep getting better.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yes. So it started with your mom, and from there you picked it up. That's interesting. Yes. So and like so I know you founded some things. You founded ETC Vibe, and you were a co-founder to Scholarly. So before we touch on that, I know we did computer science in school, but I like even while in school you were I think I did not hear it from you personally, but I heard you were one of those that helped the cafeteria to do the machine that they'll use to print out. So I'm not even sure if that is like I'll get hear the footage from you today, right? But like even in school you were interested in tech even beyond what we were taught in class because in the broad sense we were not taught to go out in as a like as a skill, even though we were doing computer science, right? The let's say the coding or the others journey was not like in depth. So if you don't put in effort, right, you would not excel at it. So let me start with this. At what point did you start like learning how to like code, learning how to do these things that would facilitate where you are now? Because you're a founder, and I remember back in school, when you started advertising ETC Vibe, even though I don't think I was so part of it, but I admired it at the far. But like I would like to know like how you started. Like what was that push that made you say, no, I'm going to do something different? Like how did you started? Like how did you start learning? Yeah.
All right, so I will start with the first issue you raised up, or linked to the question, the first question you raised up, like what influenced me, going beyond the
Yeah.
classroom and building in the school then. Yeah, so I did not actually build the system that was used to print the
Okay.
tickets. It was Emmanuel
Oh,
Levy.
okay.
I did develop the food delivery
Okay.
system that they and the attendance system that was used in chapel.
Mm.
I was the one who
Okay.
developed it. Yeah, as regards to the one you mentioned for the classroom, you were correct, but then I feel they also helped a lot because they gave us real life scenario that they've been through and that would actually help us. And it really did help me because, even it was still within the university, but I was dealing with extra people from several other departments, the cafeteria, the chapel, and different. So I understood, I was able to manage those things because some of these experiences were shared in the classroom, even though we were not pushed out there
Yeah.
yet. But then I think they did a really good job. They did. Yeah. So you also mentioned that when did I start programming and all this? So I started. Okay, let me say I started um, computing, not necessarily programming now, before I gained admission actually. So what I was doing then was I learned how to fix for my
Mhm.
boss and my
Yeah.
mentor today. I learned how to fix systems and I was doing it even before I gained admission into Redemarch University. Yeah, even though my plan initially was to study electrical electronics
Mm.
engineering in Federal University of Technology
Okay.
in Akure there. So I think one or two things happened and I just have to come back to Redemarch University. So and I'm grateful for the opportunity. So I would say I went into programming fully into my 200 level. Initially I was into hardware, software maintenance and all the likes. But then programming core, I started fully in 200 level. Thanks to those who actually encouraged me. If I'm permitted, I can
Yeah.
mention
Feel
names.
free.
Mrs. Adio, Mr. Dio encouraged me then. Mr. Victor encouraged me then. Mr. Tope, he was the one who trained me initially, even before I got admission into
Okay.
Remarch University. Mr. Tope, Akinle, yeah, he's my mentor today, and let's go for his life. He has really impacted me positively. So those are the guys that gingered me then, and I picked it up. I picked a very strong interest, and I personally, when I want to do something, I make sure I do it very well. I put in my best and everything. So I started fully in 200 level, and what solidified my skill properly was when I went for my internship in 300
Okay.
level. So I had some I went there, but when I got there, I really learned a lot. So the classroom, like we say, is different from the
Yeah.
industry. So I learned, yeah, the hands-on, and I pushed it very well from there, and God has been helping since then.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So I can see from your story you started, I would say you started even before 100 level, right? So at least that is what got you started into like computer and all. Then you started like coding and then even 200 level and then you took it up a further like then you started developing things for the school. I guess this should be around 300 after IT or okay. Okay. So yeah. So that's an amazing transition, right? So I don't think many of us like had that even in school. So that's interesting. Yes, so you've talked on your entrepreneurship journey to how you got started. Now, I would like to know how you merged the two together. So I know you're also into like tech and you're into like um being an entrepreneur. Yeah, so like what was like I know you've also mentioned your mentors, but I want you to touch on this a little bit more. Like like what was that what made you realize, oh, I can merge these two together, right? And I'm sure you've been developing your entrepreneurial skill by the side, right? So, like, maybe mention a few ways where you've meshed both like your entrepreneurial skill and also tech. You've meshed them together even while you were still in university.
Thank you very much for the question. That's a wonderful question. So, merging entrepreneurship and technology is, I would say, is interesting actually, because from your technology product, you can turn it into a
Yeah.
business actually, and that was what started. ETC Vibes today. It started as ANC Library then. When I launched the product, initially, the plan was just to help students, provide a solution to students to help them organize their study resources, basically, and also give them access to resources that will help them while they are studying. So that was the major aim of ENT Library then, that transitioned into ETC Vibes, now packed with AI, CGPA calculator, tutorials, and the rest. So it initially started as just a solution to help people, and that solution was brought to life via technology. But then, at the long run, yeah, it became a business. So that's the entrepreneurship or the entrepreneurial part of the whole thing. So it's very interesting merging entrepreneurship with technology because you can leverage technology to build your entrepreneurial skills, right? And bringing in education to at the other end was very fantastic because I saw that education is a very powerful tool that will really help not just an individual but even a nation. So merging everything together, providing solutions and providing solutions that will foster academic excellence will be a very fantastic one. And so those were the things that really gingered me, that really gave me the enthusiasm to keep on pushing and ensure that we provide solutions that will make life easy for students and academicians generally.
Yeah, that's interesting. You've already touched on education. I was about to bring that up. Yes, so I'm just going to emphasize on that. Um, so I know you're also big on education. Um, yes, and like a scholar that you are. Yes, so like what like I would like to know some backstory. Like what inspired you to be like to have that mindset of making sure that you're doing well, living in your educational like in your education rather, like what was that mindset that you had from 100 level, 200 level, 300 level, 400 level, that was ringing in your head, that made you do well throughout, right? So that's one question. And also what influenced the mindset too, that made you like, okay, because now I see that you are big on education, you want to see education thrive in the country and in Africa. So like, yeah, so the question is, what was that thing or that mind shift that made you say, no, I'm going to be different, yeah, in this educational space? Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's also a wonderful
Yeah.
question. I would say the first thing that actually helped me to be very sincere is God. You have to be close to God. You have to understand God. You have to communicate with God because I wouldn't lie to you. It can be very tough
Yeah.
along the line, but then once you have that belief that okay, um, God can help you, I think it will go a very long way. So with that, I think discipline is also very very important. Like I grew up in a military home, and it was very interesting. But then um, the level of discipline was very high. Okay, so my dad is a disciplinarian. Even at that, he plays with us very well and is a very smart man. But then you have to be disciplined. You just have to be disciplined. You have to do the right thing at the right time. And there's one thing he always tells us that whatever you want to do, just make sure that you do it and you do it the best way you can, even though your best might not be the best, but just do it the best way you can. So and do the right thing at the right time, and basically that's just it. Actually, basically, yes. So in summary, I realized that there are some major things that we need to put in place to excel academically. Number one, I would say you have to be disciplined. You just have to be disciplined. Number two, you have to be organized. You have to be organized. And number three, so you have to know the God you're serving to.
Yes.
I'm not sure with me spirituality as well. So you need sometimes you just need clarity actually. You need clarity, you need
Yeah.
direction. You can't just be speed. You need speed and
Yeah.
direction, right? So those things, once you have those, like you have determination, like you are determined to make it, and you are putting in your best, no matter how little it might look like, just keep doing it. Consistency is also very important. Just keep doing it, and before you know it, you'll see that you are growing. I wasn't so. Let me use the word brilliant per se when I started
Okay.
schooling. I remember then because I went to Command Children's School at Ikeja in the
Okay.
barracks there, and I was one of the best students. I was not one of the best students. But then, with the help of God, with the help of my dad, my parents, and my teachers, gradually with consistency, with a drive that no, I can do this, and with God, you know, He has brought me this far. So you just have to start and don't despise the little efforts you are putting in. Just keep on doing it. Be consistent about it. Be disciplined, and don't give up. Just keep pushing, and you'll see before you know it, you are even better than you can imagine.
Yeah, so that's wonderful. You mentioned being disciplined, being organized, and also having God on your side. Yeah, so that's interesting. Yeah, so on your profile, I noticed something peculiar. I saw Forbes Black, BLK. Yeah, so and like when I saw it, like I've seen it for a while now, I was like, oh, Forbes Black, what is this all about? At that time, I had no idea what I had to go and research on like a little bit on what Forbes Black is. So I noticed that it was related to Forbes. Even then, I don't think I've like done extensive research on like what Forbes is all about. I've just kind of heard it, right? So I would like you to touch on that. Like, how are you a Forbes Black member? How did you get to that point? What did you do? I am guessing it's because of you're interested in entrepreneur and whatnot, right? That got you there. But like, I'd like you to touch on that a little bit.
All right, all right. So you've ForbesBLK community is actually a community of African entrepreneurs, Black entrepreneurs, right? So I think I got in last year, if I'm not mistaken. So there was an application process that we needed to go through. So you apply and then they reach out to you, and if you are successful, you join the community. So it's a community on Slack actually, and it's a very wonderful community because you meet a lot of people doing well in the industry. So yeah, that's it basically, and you can also join
Yeah.
as
Oh,
well.
yeah. So I actually feel there was this form that was on their profile. I filled it actually. I'm waiting for them to get back to me. Let's see. But yeah,
I'm very, very sure that you'll be let in.
wow.
I'm very sure.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah. So one more question relating to the last question. Like what benefits have you like enjoyed so far with Forbes Black?
All right, like I mentioned, relationships. So I was able to meet a few other entrepreneurs, and we've been communicating, we've been rubbing minds together, especially in this aspect of education and
Yeah.
technology. So I've met a few entrepreneurs who are also doing well in their space. Some guys from Kenya, some guys from Ghana as
Okay.
well, and it's been pretty fun. So
Yeah.
yeah, relationship and the net.
Yeah, so relationship and network. Yeah, I think those are big things that every young one should try and build, right? So I was at a conference yesterday where one of the speakers spoke on like relationship, like growing your network. Yeah, so it's something that I'm actually even doing now to make sure that I make sure I have valuable people around me and I also become a person of value, right? So that is one thing everyone should work on. Yeah, so thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so let's move back to the educational sector. What are the challenges that you've seen that we are facing currently in Nigeria and maybe even Africa? Um, but what challenges are we facing now that is like a burden to you that you and like what solution do you think can you propose, right? Since you are big on the educational sector, that's why I'm bringing this question. Yeah. So like what challenge have you seen that you say this shouldn't be so, right? And what solution are you proposing? Because if it's a challenge, or who are you proposing the solution to? Yeah, so I would like you to like touch on this a little bit.
Yeah, thank you very much. So we have so many challenges in education, so especially in
Yeah.
Nigeria. Yeah, I've not been to any other
Okay.
country, but at least I've been in Nigeria for so many
Yeah, yeah.
years. There are so many challenges in the educational system that I have seen in
Okay.
Nigeria, and I'll just one. I'll just pick on one. That's the out of school children. So we have so many out of school children in Nigeria, which shouldn't be, because these out of school children eventually might end up being, the nail in the foot of Nigeria. Right, so we need to actually address that issue critically, and there are so many ways that we can, even aside from the fact that we have so many out of school children, even the infrastructure, the public schools, especially the primary schools that we have, are not well managed. They're not well managed. You go to some primary government school, some government primary schools rather. You go to some government primary schools, you see that some of them, some of the classrooms don't even have good buildings, or probably they are not even well fenced, and the whole thing is just the lack of maintenance is is a very big problem in most of the infrastructure that we have in education today in Nigeria. So I think not even just the government now, the government, individuals who are well to do, people, we should, all of us have a responsibility to actually contribute to the betterment of education in Nigeria, right? So I feel, but then the government can do it better, but we shouldn't just leave it to the government alone. Now we have to play our part as well. We have to play our part. So you just have to make sure that in any way best that you can help or you can contribute to the betterment of the educational system in Nigeria, you just have to do it. You just have to do it, because the problem is so much that even only the government might not be able to
Yeah.
solve everything. Right, so even though it's their responsibility, it's our right to be educated, right? It's our right. But then we find ourselves in this kind of situation in Nigeria, but then we shouldn't just lose hope. Let's do our own bit. Let's do our own bit, especially on the aspect of out of school children. Because if we are desirous of a successful nation, we are desirous of a successful community, I think that's, we need to look at the base, the basis rather, the roots of the whole thing. So we have to really push out. So we really need to, we really need to ensure that we have no, or a very minimal, out of school children in Nigeria, and it's very possible. We can, put systems in place, NGOs, foundations, and all those things can, come in to ensure that. I know so many things are being done as regards this, but I think we need to do more. Not even just the government, like I mentioned, even individually, we need to also contribute to it.
Yeah, that is interesting. So you mentioned we need to do more. Everyone has their role to play. Yes. Um, I'll still stay on this educational aspect a little bit because I know it's a lot. It's a lot. And one aspect I really want to touch on is, do you think everyone, like I'm sure Nigeria is populated with a lot of youths, right? I'm sure by now the youths and the young adults are even more than the adults that we have, right? I'm sure the proportion would be almost like equal. Now, do you think every young one should go to school? Now, this question is coming from a place of, we have so many graduates, right? Every year, there's always like graduates, hundreds of them in different several schools, right? Even though there's high dropouts, we also have high graduates every year. Now, and there's the aspect of job, like where would you work? You just finished mechanical engineering, where would you work? Now, my question is this: should um every like I'm not questioning the fact that everyone should be educated, right? So that's not the question. But I'm saying, should everyone go to school? And let me also touch on this so you have the full context. So I was having a conversation with one of my friend, and he mentioned the fact of the school fees, mostly in federal schools, where the school fees are very cheap. Like they are so low. There's this question of should every student go to school, and if they go to school, like where would they work, right? So what is your take on this?
Yeah, it's a very good question, right? Like you said, we have so many graduates who are not even employed, right? But I have so many things to say about this. But to the best of my knowledge, I believe that um, going to school alone does not solve all the problem. It does not solve all the problem. Going to school alone does not solve all the problem, right? As a student, you need to. I believe there are some you don't have to go to a formal school to be educated, right? There are so many things that you can also go through to be educated. For example, these vocational trainings, and that is why in some schools you see them, they don't just teach them mathematics and
Yeah.
English. You do your normal courses, and then you take vocational courses as well. So all these things are not just because they want the students to just go there and just go there wherever they find themselves. But then those things are also included so that even if you don't get a white collar job, right, you can also establish yourself and develop the vocational skill that you've learned, and turn it into a business for yourself. So, and that is where some people misses it out. They feel, okay, I've gone to school, I've finished, and I need to get a white collar job, right? We know the situation of the country. So I think people should invest the same way they're investing to go into school, they should also invest in learning a vocational skill that they can use. Because imagine you are good at tailoring, everybody wears
Yeah.
clothes, right? Imagine you are good at everybody builds houses. Imagine you are very good at barbing. Everybody would barb, like So I feel going to the classroom alone might not be so good. Even some schools that don't offer most of this vocational training, you see the students, they go to school, after school they go to where they learn all these things. So I think you don't necessarily have to be the formal education. There are informal education as well, system of education as well that are very, very good, very, very good. Even in this present situation of the country, I think the informal education itself would even impact the Nigerian citizen more, because there are things that even before, for example, now you spend about almost 10 years, secondary school and university, right? There are skills that you learn within a year, you're already very good. Within 2, 3, 4 years, you're already very good. You're making money
Yeah.
from it, right? So I feel, yeah, I feel they work together. But then, if one cannot be afforded, I think the other one should be able to be the other one. If one is not affordable, the other one should be affordable. But the main thing is be educated, whether formally or informally. Be educated, be trained, learn a skill, and develop it. Basically,
Yeah, so
yeah.
be educated, be trained, learn a skill and develop. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. So to round up, what is your what is this advice that you have for young ones that are out there now that probably are still in school, or they are thinking, or maybe they just graduated, like they've not figured things out? What advice would you have for them in order for them to like have something that they are pursuing, right? Have a focus, and then um execute that focus well to be of impact in the world now. So what advice do you have for people like that?
Yeah, so I would say we are all still learning. We are all still trying to
Yeah,
figure
true.
it out in quotes. So, but what I would say that I believe is would actually go a long way. Yeah, is you just have to pick up something. Don't be idle. No matter how little or no matter how dirty it might look. And when I mean dirty, like probably you just have to be on the streets doing something legal, not the bad things now. Yeah,
Yeah.
not that kind of dirty thing. I doing for example, if it's to maybe make shoes or something like that. So whatever you find doing, just make sure that you are doing it well, and don't be idle. Even if you have gone through the university and your job is not coming, you don't just have to be idle. You need to do something. No matter how little, no matter how small it might be, it might even shock you that that small thing that you think it is might even grow up and become a very global thing. So don't despise your little beginning, like I've always had in my head. Don't despise the little beginning. Even myself, I am still growing, right? So we just have to keep pushing. We don't have to give up. We just have to keep pushing and ensure that something comes out of whatever we are doing. So in summary, my advice is don't give up. Get something to do and do it well.
Yes,
Thank you.
that makes sense. Get something to do it well. Yes, so thank you very much for joining me, Isaac. I really appreciate, and we'll talk more. Yes, so thank you everyone watching. Thank you also for joining. Please go follow Isaac on all his social media. I'll leave them in the link. Yes, so please go follow him. Yes. So thank you. Bye bye.